So today I'm going to be doing a scene by scene spoiler discussion for the new movie that came out on Netflix called Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Okay, before we get into this, one, do not forget to leave a comment down below, and also do not forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get into this. So, I'm actually going to read the synopsis first. When a colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of the tyrannical regent Belisarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. So, it's a rebellion. Okay, so it got released on the 15th of December, apparently in the UK, but I believe it just came out yesterday or 2 days ago. The director is Zack Snyder, and we are going to get into the rest of it. So just so y'all know, some people like it, some people don't. Okay, so apparently on Rotten Tomatoes it has an audience score of 69%, which I'd be real, I'm gonna just tell you right now, I enjoyed this. I would probably give it, out of 5 stars, I would probably give it probably 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. Like, I'll go and watch this again today. Okay, but you see that the critics gave it a 24%. I'm like, y'all, what? Okay, so we're gonna get into what took place in this movie. Okay, so we start out. Okay, we start out and we're outside. You see a mule and a lady who has like this big egg like this. All right, she's sniffing it, she's sifting through the sand and the gravel, and we find out her name is Cora. Okay, this is our main character. All right, so she has this fierce look. I'm gonna be real, she was kind of reminding me of Zoe Kravitz for a little bit, and I'm gonna be real, in this movie as well, there are a lot of lookalikes. Okay, I seen a Matthew McConaughey lookalike. I seen a Bradley Cooper lookalike. I was like, okay, there's a lot of people who look like somebody else here. Okay, but let's continue. She has this fierce look, and we see like this thing. It kind of looks like a Saturn. I'm gonna be real, and it looks like it's 100 feet away from them. I was like, okay, but okay, it's science fiction, whatever. All right. So then we see that this one white dude, he look like he's over here trying to get some of her. Okay, like he's over here looking at her like, you look good, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on? So then we skip to a scene where we have a feast. Okay, and Cora, she says, it's been a while since I've had fresh meat, and I'm thinking, what kind of food do you eat, or do you not eat that regularly? I mean, what do you mean it's been a while since you had some fresh meat? We then see another dude. I mean, it's two dudes who are wanting Cora. Like, they're over here looking at her like, oh yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I'm a bit uncomfortable. So then there's a man who is like the father of the village. Okay, and he is making like these sex innuendos. He's like, essentially, let's all, okay. And I'm like, wait, y'all, what's going on? So essentially Cora got them two dudes, and I was like, okay, is this how we're starting this out? Right in the gate. Okay, right. So then we skip to Cora's home. I guess you could say it was more like a hut that she also shares with somebody else. I thought it was her dad possibly, but this is not. I think this is just whoever is sharing with her. Okay, however they do that. I guess it was just a friend of hers. Wondering, like, kind of meddling in her personal business. Like, well, I mean, what you gonna do about it? I mean, you got this dude over here who like you, and I'm like, why is this any of your concern? He essentially is just like, you need to build a family, have a relationship, love, live, have something. But then she goes and says, like, I was a child of war, and I really don't know if I can, and I'm not sure if I'm even capable of loving somebody else because, given my terrible past that I've had. And I was like, oof, yeah, I get that. She was also mentioning how she was in the town for 2 years, this particular village, this particular town. Okay, and she was just giving like a deep story, and I was like, yeah, maybe you don't need to be with somebody right now. Okay, because I mean, she has gone through a lot. Okay, like you could just tell by the way that she was delivering it, and just how she was just so uninterested in everybody else as well. Okay, one thing I will say kind of made me laugh in here was, like I said, she shares this little hut area with another guy. Okay, and she was like, okay, it's time for bed, and she closes the curtains, right? And the curtains are about 3 feet off the ground of space. And then there's transparent. So I'm like, well, what's the point of closing a transparent curtain that's 3 feet above the ground? I could still see you. So I was like, okay, I laughed at that. I was like, okay, that's a bit silly, but whatever. So now we cut to a scene where we're all on the field and everyone is wearing, they look rough, they look dirty and everything because they're working on the field. Okay. This is just what their town does because they have very fertile land. Okay. So you see that they're spreading seeds and all that. And then they go and see a warship. Uh-oh. And of course she runs and gets the signal going like a little gong kind of thing. But she beats it to let, the townspeople know like, yo, we got some people, we got some business. Okay. So y'all, oh my goodness. So then they go and have a meeting before the warship comes down. Okay. Before they actually land, they go and have a meeting with each other. And they're talking about selling grains to the enemy. And you have a dude, he is like, yo, we should just, we should partner with them because, come on, they're not gonna hurt us, as long as we're seen as equal or just at least a partner, they're not gonna want to do anything worse to us or anything like that. And, of course, she's like, yo, we got very fertile land here. We're not gonna be just giving things out. We're not going to just be giving them more information. We're not going to be doing all that. Let's not tell them anything more than what they need to know because they could kill us. Okay. They got the badge. Okay. So she was just like, let's just make the money. Let's not volunteer any information. We don't know these people. Okay. And she's not telling everyone else, like, I know these people. We're not doing that. Okay. So the ship finally lands after they had their meeting. It finally lands. And I think his name is Sindre or Senge, which is essentially the father of the village. That's what he calls himself. Okay. He meets with the captain or admiral of the ship. And this dude, this admiral, he reminded me of Christoph Waltz. In Inglourious Basterds, I believe, which was the Nazi film. He reminded me of Christoph Waltz's character because, he was nasty, yo. It was just like, okay. And pow, he reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, God. He had the same eerie feeling, okay? So you see that the admiral and his crew, they just marching off or whatnot. And essentially what ends up happening is the captain or the admiral, he's like, yo, I want to have a partnership. And then he was asking the father, he was like, so how fertile is this land? Oh, we could barely, make it by. This land is not really fertile. It's just really enough for us, barely. We can't have any extra servings. And he's just like, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. And I was like, oh my God, this guy, like I said, y'all, if y'all ever seen Christoph Waltz and how he delivers things, this is how this guy was. And I was just like, oh my God, y'all are screwed. Somebody died. Okay. You could just tell something's going to happen. So, he was saying, the father, he was saying like, we don't have any additional food, we don't really have a surplus like that. And then he's like, okay. So then we go to this Bradley Cooper looking dude who was saying like, oh, we should do a partnership. I believe his name was Gunner. And then he goes in, y'all, this fool goes and volunteers information to this admiral and says, we have fertile land and we have reserves because we have a surplus. And then the admiral's like, so why did the father say y'all don't have that? And the father, he doesn't speak for me and, he can't be trusted. He's just talking. He's just saying some things. And the admiral's like, okay. Yeah, I get that. People just talk and people just say whatever it is that they want to say. I don't and he kills him. I was like, oh, and he doesn't kill Bradley Cooper, Gunner. Okay. He doesn't kill that dude. He goes and kills the father because he's like, oh, you lied to me. And I'm like, because the way that he had it, this dude got a mace, okay, like one of those staffs, and he was faced like he was going to go and kill Gunner. Okay, he's like this, but then he just immediately turns to him. I was like, oh, the first hit, I was like, okay, he did. and then he hit him the second time. I was like, okay, he dead. Then third and fourth, I was like, okay, he's deader. I was like, damn, dude. Okay, he dead. Okay. So essentially, he's like this. I want X amount of grains. I want X amount of food grown for me and my men. I need it in 12 weeks since you can do it in 10 or whatever the case may be. And then, no. He was like, oh, you could do it in 12. Well, I need it in 10. And I'm going to be coming back. And then they were like, but we can't produce that much. I mean, if we give you all of that, then essentially we'll all starve. And he's like, that's fine by me. I need my grains and I need my food. And I'll be back. All right. I'm going to leave some men here. Deuces. So then it's like, and now everyone's looking at him like, we shouldn't have did that partnership. And he told you not to do that partnership. And now look at you. Now look at us. Because, he was so naive thinking like, well, they're not going to hurt us. Why would they? Come on. Why would they kill us? They just killed your men. All right. So the captain and other people left and he kept, a few of the other soldiers back. I think it was maybe about 10 or so that he kept there. So you see that the soldiers open up this AI bot. Okay. And this is a robot, it's a droid. And you see that it opens up. And one of the soldiers who's an A-hat, he goes and says, oh, well, this one used to work for the king and queen who got assassinated. And it's programmed not to, essentially defend itself. So he starts just attacking this bot. He's attacking this bot just for fun. And I was like, dang, man, I mean, do you really gotta hurt the bot like that? I was bothered by it. I was like, you don't really have to do all what you're doing. Okay. So he does that. And then he sees this blonde chick because there's this one younger soldier that was looking at this blonde chick when they arrived. And she was just looking like, I'm not interested in whatever you got going on. Okay. But he was looking like, I'm interested in whatever you got going on. But then you got these two older dudes who noticed that he was looking at her and they were over here like just one was trying to be the good cop and the other one was the bad cop. Okay. That's just their personality traits. They're both pieces of ish, but one was trying to pretend like he really wasn't, but he really was a piece of ish because they were planning on doing some, what to her. Okay. And I was like, okay. The A-hat, he goes and he's like beating up this bot. Okay. He's just like shooting it, whatever. And then mud gets all on the bot's face essentially. And then we skip to a scene where the bot is like washing himself off, which really surprised me because I was just like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think that he would be wiping himself off. I didn't think that he would be washing his face, so it gives the bot more humanity in just that part, the fact that it's not just like operating, wipe eyes, operating. It's, what the hell, man? Did you really have to get all the mud on my face like that? And I was just like, oh, wow. So I really like the fact that that was added in there. And the bot, I was really digging this bot, because it was just sweet. It was just like, they didn't have to do this, man. And the lady, the blonde that they were, harassing, she joins him and whatnot. And she eventually makes him like this daisy kind of, flower crown. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But he was saying the bot was saying how it was a warrior and how it was fighting for the king and queen until they were both assassinated. And he was just, it was just saying how, that's essentially how I got here because he captured and all that kind of stuff that happened. And what I thought was really cool was she went and touched his face, or I think she ended up putting I think it was after she put the crown on, and then you see that his face, he's a bot, but the color, it started like going like this brown, like the warmth of humanity, and that was the sweetness of it. And I was like, oh, that was a cute scene, y'all. It was really cute. So then we see that these farmers, all the people in the village, they, come together and they're like, okay, this is how we could essentially live, when the admiral and his crew come back, saying like, oh, well, if we show that we're good enough, we show that, we're valuable, they'll spare us. They're not going to go and kill us after they get our grain and do all this. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And Cora, she's like, all right, it's time for me to go. So she She starts packing her clothes. She's like, these fools, they don't know any better. She's like, I already been through this. I'm not. And her roommate was like, you can't do that. He's like, you gotta help us out. And she's just like, y'all, this ain't really got anything to do with me. I'm about to go. Okay. I've only been here for 2 years. That's it. So they're over thinking that these soldiers are going to show mercy. And I mean, come on, let's keep it real. These soldiers are not, they're not trying to be out here showing anybody any mercy. Okay. So then we cut to a scene. And this is after she's pondering, like, okay, should I stay or should I go? And we see two of the soldiers who were the A-hats from earlier. They're over here trying to, take advantage, if you know what I mean, of the white girl with the blonde hair that I told you about earlier, who was nice and who made the little flower, crown. And Cora, she sees it. She's like, I can't let this go. I can't. And then she comes and she starts whooping arse, y'all. She starts whooping that arse. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then one of the A-hats, they're over here like, bot, droid, go and kill the blonde. And then the droid was like, I'm not doing it. And one of the soldiers, the younger soldier, actually ended up killing his captain dude. Okay. And it was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So then Cora, she's like, you know what? I'm going to help these people out. We can't just keep running. I'm going to go and help them out because we're not going to have this warship people. We're not going to have them coming up in here and messing up my home. Okay. So she's like, I'm going to go. And then Gunner, he's like, you know what? The Bradley Cooper lookalike. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go help you out too, girl. I got you. Then she was like, okay, cool. So then they dip. And then, they're over here expressing, well, more so her. She's over here saying like, okay, I just want you to know who I am, because I mean, you are coming with me for this. So I just want to let you know who I am. So she starts telling him about her childhood, how her world was destroyed, her town was destroyed, and it was essentially like a Thanos kind of thing. So her childhood, it was destroyed, her family was killed, her town was destroyed, everything. And, we got Belisarius or whatever his name is, who's the admiral. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take you in like Thanos. And like they did for Gamora. And then he goes and takes her in and pretty much trains her to be an assassin, trains her to be a warrior. Okay. So she's just like, I know these people, this is what they did to me. They're not going to, I seen them murder hundreds of people just because they could. So they're not going to just be like, oh, well, I mean, I guess we could just love and live. She's like, that ain't gonna happen, yo. And if you think that's gonna happen, you use a fool. Okay. They head to a new town. They're like, okay, we are going to go to this place, and they're looking for a guy named General Titus. So the big mission is, let's go find this guy. Okay. So then we see a guy who is strapped in like this resistance chair kind of thing, but it was more like sophisticated and metal and all that. And Gunner's like, yeah, that's my lead. And she's like, what the freak, man? So then they're like, okay, well, let's go and head to a bar so we could try to figure out a new plan. Let's try to get some information. Let's see what's going on. So then we see this dude. He's like some alien dude. He's over here like, okay, to Gunner, because this looks like it's one of those kind of places. So then he goes to Gunner. He's like, I want some of you. And he's like, I'm not for sale. And he was like, everyone has a price. And she's like, my homeboy is not for sale. What are you doing? And then he's like, oh, well, I want some of him. And, just trying to get some. So then she beats his booty. And then he runs like, oh, she beat me. And Cora, she starts asking, she's like, okay, does anyone know where General Titus is? And this guy who is a human, but has like these tentacle things that are attached to him from something else that is controlling him. It starts answering. Okay. It's so weird, but it was really cool how they went about doing it. And, they were saying like, okay, I could help you out with some information, whatever. But the guy who just got beat up, he brought his goons and they were like, okay, I want you dead. We're going to open up a can of whoopee. Okay. So she's like, okay. And then they end up fighting. And this dude named Kai, who was from Sons of Anarchy, he goes and kills him because homeboy was trying to kill her. And he goes and kills him. He was like, you know what? I could go and help you out. I got a ship and I'm an opportunist. So, I'm for the money. Okay. And anytime someone's only for money, you can't trust them. Okay. Because all someone has to do is pay them, maybe twice as much as they were getting paid originally. And they'll just go and flip sides. Okay. Really? So I was like, I'm going to keep my eye on you, dude. Okay. So they get in the ship. So we got Gunner, we got Cora, and now we got this dude, Kai, who this is his ship. Okay. So they're all up in there. And then, he's like, I'll help you out as long as I get paid. And then she's like, okay, whatever. Fine. So he doesn't care. So then we go and cut to a scene where we have the Admiral. And this is a weird scene, y'all. He was sitting down, but he has like these little circular things just all over his body. And it's like these little tentacle things that, he's putting into his body. And he's over here looking around and doing all this and kind of look like he's about to climax. But I was like, you doing that? Are you getting high? I don't know. I was just like, I don't know what you got going on over there. I thought it was really weird, yo. I was like, okay. But we end up seeing that. So then we cut back to the team. Okay, now we got 3 people. I did this, but we got 3 people. We're back to the team, and now they have gone from the ship to this place called Frontier Homestead. Okay, so now they're looking for people to recruit for this resistance, for this rebellion, so that we could go and help out the farmers in the village so that they don't die. Because come on, let's keep it real, these people are gonna kill them. Okay, after they get what they need, they're gonna go and off them. That's what's gonna happen. So they're looking, and Gunner, he's like, yo, I know a dude who he's badass. Okay, I know a dude. Okay, and this dude, I'm being real, he looks like a Native American Matthew McConaughey. Okay, and this dude is shredded too. He's shredded. He got them abs, and I was like, okay, dude, what's going on? Okay, say that. And you see that he's restrained. He has a chain hooked to his leg and everything and whatnot because he owes a debt of like 300,000, whatever the currency is. And the guy who's like a creep fat white dude, he's like, you know what? I'll let him free if he's able to get on this hippogriff over here. Look like Buckbeak from Harry Potter. So he was like, if he could ride this hippogriff around, he said, I'll let him free. And then they were like, okay, cool. So homeboy ends up riding this hippogriff around, essentially. And it was a really cool scene. I mean, y'all, this looked like from straight out of Harry Potter. Okay, it looked like Buckbeak, okay? Or Hogwarts Legacy High Wing. It looked just like it. And I was like, okay. So he's riding it. And then the animal trusts him. And, well, you earn my respect, homeboy. And he's like, okay, I got you. So that's what happened. And then they're like, okay, the homeboy was like, the white dude, he was like, you know what, you're free. He said, you end up riding the hippogriff, bye. And as they're about to leave, because now we're adding this guy to the crew, so as they're about to leave, the hippogriff looks at the fat white dude, and the white dude, he gets on the hippogriff just like, ooh, well, he did it, well, I could do it. And then he falls off, and the hippogriff gets his claws and kills him. And then the Matthew McConaughey looking dude, he's like, yeah, I'm happy to see that. He got what he deserved. So then we cut to a scene where we're now headed to or at the coal mining planet. Okay, so we're looking to recruit another lady. So we got this lady who is staring, and she looked like the chick that was off the menu, Anna. And she had like those kind of eyes, and she was just staring. I was like, okay, so this is going to be our new recruit. Let's see what she's all about. Okay. This woman, she was confronting a spider lady who kind of reminded me of the No Face from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the show. It reminded me of that No Face being creature. So she confronts this spider lady. And the spider lady stole a child, and the lady was mad. She was like, oh, well, you guys poisoned my air. Now I can't hatch my eggs, so I'm stealing kids. And she was like, under my dead body. And she gets her samurai swords that have like Star Wars kind of glow. It has that glow that the swords have. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? She starts slicing and dicing. It's saber time. She's like, bow, 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 bow. And she does all that, ends up killing this lady, and the kid ends up getting saved. Okay, so they recruit her. Now we get back on the ship. Okay, what I thought was interesting though was how quickly people are just like, okay, I guess because they knew who Gunner is and all that, and the other dude. I was like, okay, I guess, but it just seemed kind of like they didn't really require much. It was like, okay, yeah, I could do it. I got time. I was just like, okay. So that's what ended up happening. So now they're back on the ship, and you have our main character Cora, who was talking to Gunner, and they're having a flashback. And she starts mentioning how she was a bodyguard for this little white girl, this blonde white girl. And there's a scene where the girl sees a dead bird, and then she brings it back to life. And then Cora's looking like, how in the heck did she do that? She's like, okay. And she was over here saying, yeah, the king said that when she grows up, essentially she'll be able to, she'll be able to save them all. And then it cuts to another scene. So I'm like, okay, well, with her body language, she was like, yeah, I was supposed to be saving her, and I was supposed to be her bodyguard. Yeah, and then, they said that she could hold, and I was like, wait, is she dead? Did the girl die? Or, what's going on? So we don't know just yet. So now the people on the ship, we all are now at the gladiator arena of Castor. Okay, so we are now meeting General Titus. That's the one that we were looking for in the first place. And yes, y'all, they are doing some flying quickly. Okay. They're like, okay, one place. Okay, we got. Okay. There's no lingering about. They are just one after the next. Okay. So now we meet General Titus. Okay. This fool was drunk. I didn't even recognize the actor, y'all, because that's how different he looked. I was like, nah, that's not him. I was like, is that him? Wait, hold up. But we said he's drunk. He's a sloppy mess. And, he's like, I sent my men into slaughter. I suck. I'm a terrible dude. And Coral's like, get yourself up. Come on, man. We got other things to do. He was like, okay. So then he's recruited. So then we cut to a scene where we got the Admiral and his people. And that dude that I told you was in that little straitjacket machine thing. So they took him. Okay. So they're like, okay, we need to get some information. The guy gives information, and he's like, well, you said you're going to set me free. He was like, yeah. Of course I'm going to set you free. And let me just use this sharp key. And okay, homeboy's dead. Scan his brain for more information to see if he lied or not. I'm like, dude, what? I'm like, you just said you were gonna let him go, and now you're just like, well, I mean, I am letting him go technically. I'm like, dude, you just. I was like, you suck, dude. You really suck. Now we skip to a scene where we're at the home of King Levitica. So then you have Gunner. He summoned this other crew of people. They got like face paint and all this other stuff, okay? And it's a brother and sister pairing, but they got their other people behind them. And they were over here like, we need to recruit you. And they're like, the woman's like, I'm not helping them out. This ain't got ish to do with us. And the brother, he's like, yo, if we are not, he said, what are we doing this rebellion for? What are we doing this for if it's not to help the people who are helpless? And she was like, yeah, you right. So then I'm like, okay, let's go and recruit some people. Who wants to come? We only need about 5 people. So you have the 5 people who come. Y'all, this one scene was hilarious because there's this lady on the left side of the screen, right? I was like, okay, let's go and get people who want to go for this cause. So you have the people who like, you know what? I got you, homeboy. I got you. I'ma come. And this one chick is this one white chick on the left side of the screen, y'all. And she's over here like, yeah. I got my sword. Yeah. I mean, I'm not volunteering, but yeah. Like, she was looking so hard, so tough. And I'm like, girl, you ain't even gonna volunteer. Nah, I ain't volunteer. I don't want to die. But I'm gonna look tough. I thought that was hilarious, y'all. So then we get back on the ship and whatnot. So after they're recruited or whatnot, we go to this one area, I believe. And then we find out the dude that from Sons of Anarchy, Kai, his name up in here. We found out Homeboy sold them out to the admiral. So now they're all in these metal straitjackets. Yo, I was like, are you kidding me, dude? And then he's just like, well, I mean, he said earlier, I'm an opportunist. I'm going to do anything for money. So, I mean, you know. And I was like, wow, dude, you really freaking suck. I can't believe that you just sold everyone out. So everyone who is up there is obviously the black dude and with the sister, but it was the black dude and his whole crew. It was like 5 or 6 people and whatnot. Then you had the strong man, the Native American looking dude who had to get on hippogriff. Then you got Gunner, the farmer, but he's not tied up. You got Cora, you got the Asian chick, and you got is this other dude that you and then you had the General Titus. Okay, so they were all just locked up or whatnot in this little constraint thing. So then you see Gunner and you see Kai. He tells Gunner, he's like, yo, you need to just go off her, so we could be done with her and whatnot. And then he was like, okay, but he unlocks her, and then y'all, it's like, okay, it's on like Donkey Kong. Now everyone bow, 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 bow. Pew, 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 pew. Everyone's slicing and dicing, okay? Now they unleashed, when they brought the Asian chick out, I was like, man, they are unleashing the beast, because I seen what she could do with them saber swords, okay? So they are getting them. Out of everything that happened, the brother, the black dude who had the sister, he had 2 men, I believe, that died. And he ended up sacrificing himself too for I end up killing them because I end up killing this dude because he killed my people, So he ends up dying out of that crew too. Okay. So now we get to a scene where we have the Admiral and we have Cora, and they're over here fighting. She comes down, swoop down like Batman. I was like, okay, what's going on? They're over here fighting. She knocks his teeth out or whatnot. And then there's like this little edge thing, because they were fighting on this small platform. She knocks him down and it's like, okay, homeboy dead. Okay. Now this same dude, Admiral, this is the dude who recruited her. Well, not recruited her, who stole her from her family after he murdered her family and her entire village. Okay. One thing I noticed, both of them look like they're in their 40s, and I believe in real life they're like 40, 41. I think they're like a year apart. And I was like, y'all, I was like, I get this is science fiction, but y'all, when y'all said it earlier, I was like, nah, maybe I misheard that. But then I was like, okay, you're saying daughter. I was like, y'all about the same age. I was like, are they trying to say that she's like 28 or 30? Because I was like, you look about 40, and maybe they're trying to say you're 50. I was like, the age doesn't make any sense. Okay. Another question I had was, what's going on with the Kai guy? Because I don't recall seeing the body. So I was like, I don't know. Okay, so I'm curious what happened to him. So then they go back, the team using the aircraft. Okay, so we got the Asian, we got Gunner, we got Cora, we got General Tai, and we have, I think that was it actually. And then we end up going back to the village at the end of it. Okay, so now it's just like, okay, this is really good, because they help to, at least delay these people from doing any mess, so we got some good things going. And I thought that was really freaking cool. So then I was like, okay, so this is a nice ending. Y'all, they cut to another scene. And in this scene, we have the father, Admiral dude, who's supposed to be dead. He ain't dead, y'all. I was like, this fool dropped from at least 200 feet. How is this fool not dead? I mean, not even 200 feet. He was in the air. He was in the sky. He was in the sky, y'all. So I was like, this dude dead. He has to be dead. But they find him on the ground. I mean, he was in the galaxies, y'all. And he's still alive. I was like, no. And he ends up being rescued and saved. And then they're putting him into this like liquid machine. I was like, this liquid? I was like, what's going on? Y'all, you find out he's a cyborg. I was like, well, that explains the age. He's not human. I was like, that really explains the age. I was like, because they look like they're about the same age. And I was like, how you steal her? And when she was 8, and now y'all the same age. I don't get it, because he's a cyborg, y'all. So then we see the guy who's ahead of him, and he's like, I want you to find my daughter. She needs to be captured and all that, okay? And essentially this dude is like a Frankenstein monster, cyborg looking dude, okay? And that is how it ends. Y'all, I enjoyed this movie. I really thought this movie was fun. I would give it out of 5 stars, probably about a 5, like I said earlier. I can't wait for the next one. I believe it comes out in April on Netflix as well. But I really enjoyed this. This was really fun. They took a lot of different elements from different things. Like I mentioned, Harry Potter with the hippogriff. Y'all, I mean, look, just like Buckbeak. Different color, but it looked like Buckbeak. There's references to Riddick, their Game of Thrones, Dune, The Matrix. I mean, obviously Star Wars, that as well. But there's a lot of different references and different things that were, put from different properties into here. But I thought it was done seamlessly. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes, I believe. And I'm gonna be real, I didn't feel the length. I felt like it was paced well. Like I said, they were going to different galaxies. They had to hurry up and get in there and get out, okay? So we weren't just lingering about and wasting time. I thought the ending was strong. I thought the beginning was strong. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, I would go and watch it again. That's how much I enjoyed it. The characters, I thought the naivety of the farmers was justified. You had the soldiers, how they would typically act, in a lot of these other kinds of movies. I thought that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. And the visuals, man. Oh my goodness, the saber swords. That was really, really cool, yo. I was like, I don't know how she lit them up, but she lit those things up. I was like, yo, okay. Now, one thing, y'all not going to get some John Wick fighting up in here. That's what y'all think y'all gonna get, or some Jack Reacher fighting. Okay, you ain't gonna get that, but the fighting I thought was pretty good for the most part. Just the visuals of it. The movie was a gorgeous film. It was beautiful. I was like, wow, this is really nice. The actors and actresses, I thought they did an excellent job. I really enjoyed. I mean, they sold me on. This is my character, and they really sold me on that. So I really enjoyed it. Afterthoughts, in terms of just the movie itself, is the team gonna just be chilling in a village? That's one thing I'm kind of curious about. Like, are they okay? They helped out the farmers. I mean, are y'all? You know what I mean? Because a Native American looking dude, he was just he was a prisoner, so you don't have a home unless I'm tripping. You don't think you have a home. We got General Titus. He was in a Spartan, a Roman gladiator ring. And I was like, I don't think Colosseum. I was like, I don't think you got a home either. Okay. The Asian chick, she has a home. I would assume so anyways. And you got Gunner who lives there and everything. And you got, what's her face that lives there as well. So I was like, okay, I just don't. Are y'all just gonna be chilling here? What's going on? Okay, because I don't know if we got enough surplus for y'all. No, I was just playing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I said, the age of the father, admiral, and the daughter, that makes sense because he's a cyborg. So that's what it is. But one thing also was the little blonde girl that she said she was a bodyguard for. I was like, okay, is she dead? So we don't know. Obviously, this is part 1, so you got part 2 coming out later. But I was like, okay, is she dead? What's going on with her? Is she not living anymore? Because the way that she looked down when she was recounting her story, it was just like, yeah, and I had to be her bodyguard. Well, anyways, and I was like, wait, did she die? So we don't know if she died. We know that the king and queen died, but we don't know if she died, And what I thought was very interesting was, like I said, it was like Thanos, Guardians of the Galaxy as well, where you had her being taken away from her family. They were murdered. And so it was just kind of like, wow, you made her into like a prodigy kind of thing. So I thought this movie was pretty interesting. I thought it was very deep, and it shows, the times of war, the victims of war, and how that all looks, a child of war. I really enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have seen it and what your opinions on it were.